People, we spent the afternoon there. In fact, just got back about a half an hour ago. The high school, though, is not like most high schools. It is old, but more so than that, it is what is inside this high school. You almost think for a second you're in an art museum.
It was built back in 1915, and Dave Stanton has the night off, and Brad Ritter is down there right now, live in the heart of Ohio. Brad?
Dave and Dana talk about it being something really special. You know, from the outside, it really doesn't look that much different than any usual high school in a small town built, back around 1915, 19 or 20. Lots of stone, lots of red brick Georgian architecture. But it's what is inside that makes it so special. I promise it is like no other high school you've ever seen, and we'll give you a tour coming up a little later on the 5:30 edition of Eyewitness News. It's really something special.
Okay.
All made possible, too, by a man who made a fortune at the early part of the century, making horse collars here in town.
Okay.
Thanks, Brad. Talk to you in a bit.
But right now, let's take a look at today's news and our top story tonight.
For attention in Greenfield, homes built with stone that was found right in a nearby quarry, the Rutgers Quarry in Ross County. All those homes were great looking.
Right across the
Yeah,
county
we're driving
line.
around. Look at those. They really just grab your eye.
A lot of history down in Greenfield. You know, all along when we've been in the heart of Ohio, we've been impressed with how the local historical societies really are working to preserve the heritage. Well, they're doing the same thing down in Greenfield. And the history back there, well, it goes all the way back to the late 1700s. Greenfield was founded back in 1799 by Duncan MacArthur. In fact, Duncan MacArthur then later became governor of the state of Ohio. Well, the founding of Greenfield is depicted on this mural right across the street. It's one of many murals that you'll find here in Greenfield. Back in 1812, the old Traveler's Rest was built here in Greenfield. It actually set a few blocks down the street. But then they dismantled it back in the mid-60s and then brought it here and reassembled it stone by stone. Right now, it's the focal point of the local historical society.
David, welcome
Yes.
to Greenfield and the Traveler's Rest.
Well, Johnny O'Donnell's, we thank you very much. What was this used for?
This was originally an inn, David. It was used for travelers in the early 1800s, around 1812, when the building was first built by Noel Crawford. It later became a post office. It was the first post office in Greenfield. It became a doctor's office and a private residence.
The Traveler's Rest sits on the location of the First Presbyterian Church here in Greenfield. This is a shot of that church on this location back then. It was built in 1821, and this is the cornerstone of that church, and right below it, the original ministers of the church. The people here are extremely interested in preserving their history, and this is a good example of that. This is a township record book. It has the election results of 1860, and if you look real closely, you got the results right here. Abraham Lincoln got 358 votes. Stephen A. Douglas, 177. Strong Republican community back then, but they say, nah, not quite so today. It takes a lot of work by a lot of people to preserve history like you just saw in this book. That's where the local historical society comes in and is so important. People that I'd like to have you meet right now. We have George, and we have Iris, and we have Martha, and Sarah, and Morris, and John Ed, and Wilson couldn't be with us today. But it's people like that that see to it that the history here is preserved. These great people have given me so many wonderful stories about Greenfield and the history of this area. This is just another one. When Duncan MacArthur laid out this plot, he said 3 things had to go here. A meeting place, which of course was the church, a school, and a cemetery. Well, right over here is the original cemetery of Greenfield. And buried here are people who have fought in every war that the United States has been in, with the exception of the Vietnam War. And that would include, of course, the Revolutionary War. One of the notables buried here was the first minister of the Presbyterian Church, which sat on this lot. Remember me telling you about that? His name was the Reverend S. Carruthers, and he is buried here along with his 4 wives. Now, the Historical Society people tell me, David, please, he didn't have those wives all at once.
You got it right.
I got it right, yeah. Anyway, it was really interesting there. Also, those murals that you saw, Ed Clifton went around the town and painted those, and there are a total of 6 murals when you go to Greenfield, and they are continuing and working in preserving their history.
I want to see inside that high school.
You want to go inside the high school?
Yes.
Well, then let's do that when we come back.
A couple of commercials first. We'll be right back.
Decorate the holidays for your family.
Charlotte Phillips at the pipe organ. Yeah, that's right, a pipe organ in a high school, and that's what they have at Greenfield McLean High School, and she was playing the alma mater there.
Now here's a high school where not only do, of course, they have the teachers and the murals and the bulletin boards and all of that type of thing, but the building itself is an education. Let's check back in with Brad Ritter, who's down in Highland County. Brad?
Dana, I know you had a chance to just step into the high school this afternoon, and, well, I know your feeling was very much the same as mine, and just about anybody who steps in here, you can't help but be amazed at what you see all up and down the halls. Just beautiful artwork, all kinds of classics. There are sculptured soldiers that sort of act well as hall monitors looking down on the students. It is so much like a museum. In fact, they even have an art catalog, the same sort of thing they would give you at a museum, outlining and giving you details on more than 160 masterpieces that are here. And, you know, when it's quiet like it is right now, the classes are gone for the day, they're ready for Thanksgiving. Well, it feels so much like a museum, not at all like a busy high school. When the bell sounds, you're quickly brought back to the real world of classes and kids. Yet this is a school as rich in heritage as it is in art. Edward McLean made his millions in Greenfield as a turn-of-the-century industrialist, and in 1915 gave his hometown what was considered one of the finest public schools in the nation. But it was his wife Lulu who convinced him to grace the halls with art. She picked much of the work, reproductions of great sculptures like Michelangelo's Thinker and paintings like Edwin Abbey's Sir Galahad. 3 huge murals were commissioned for the school alone. They cost $65,000.
It's weird walking down the hallways when you first get here, but you know, you look around and see them and you're afraid to touch them and think they're going to fall over and hit you or something.
To the school's 500 students, the sculptures, the paintings, the photographs have always been there. Many don't give them a second thought, or so they say.
They want to look cool and say that they don't like it, but I think they like it a lot more than they'll ever say.
If nothing else, the students respect the art. They tell me there's an unwritten rule that you just don't mess with it.
They set the foot down around here on them statues and pretty strict about it.
What do you like about having it there?
Nice to look at, I reckon.
Even after he spent well over $1 million on building and equipping this school, Edward McLean wasn't finished. In 1924, he built a vocational annex, including a natatorium, the most unusual luxury for a rural high school back then. But his true legacy is in the artwork he bought for the students of the future. And with the likes of Ben Franklin and Sophocles staring at them, you have to wonder if McLean graduates perhaps leave here with just a little extra wisdom. And there is also the hope among the faculty that perhaps the students will leave with a little greater appreciation for art. Dave Bonert is the principal. Do you think kids 15, 16, 17 years old, can you really get them a little more interested in art by having so much of it around them?
Well, I think we can, yes, but I think that the primary interest that they show will become evident much later on when they come back to the school and after having been out in the world and seen that other schools don't have this kind of opportunity.
Does that explain why this is such a place of pride for your town?
I think so.
Principal Plummer, thanks very much. There's one other really interesting tradition I just have to tell you about here. This school has a beautiful marble foyer and floor that as you come right into the building, you can't help but miss it. But nobody, very often anyway, goes up and down those stairs. Only seniors, just as they're completing their classwork here, are allowed to go up and down the steps. And after that, well, it's exclusively for use of the high school alumni. And one thing also we should point out, Dave and Dana, they do have an alarm here. This artwork is all very, very terribly expensive and valuable. So they do have the place alarmed.
I like that staircase idea.
It's beautiful. And they light up their school all night long. I mean, it's lit up. You don't go by, it's not a dark school. Like tonight, if you go by the street down there, it's all lit up. Spotlights all over.
That's true. They did that just a couple of years ago. And again, it just points to the terrific amount of pride people in Greenfield have about this school.
Thanks, Brad. Happy Thanksgiving.
You too.
All right.
Thank you.
Take care. And we'll be back in just a moment as we talk about some of the history of Greenfield's industries in the heart of Ohio.
We go.
Shop Thanksgiving Day from 11 a.m. to 6 for the first day of Gold Circle's Thanksgiving sale.
Gold Circle is open Thanksgiving Day from 11 to 6 with store-wide savings like 20% off every toy in stock.
G.I. Joe and Barbie, Fisher Price, all board games. Save on all these toys.
Gold Circle's open Thanksgiving Day, 11 to 6.
More Christmas for less.
Charlie Nirenberg is proud of his Dairy Mart stores, his people, and all the little extras that make Dairy Marts so different. But he still checks up on them.
I can't believe the condition of this store. Dirty floors, empty shelves, high prices, and no hot coffee.
Who are you?
I'm Charlie Nirenberg from Dairy Mart.
This isn't a Dairy Mart.
Oh, keep up the good work.
Good people, it must be Dairy Mart.
Honda is good for Ohio, and Honda East is great for you. Enjoy the hushed comfort of the richly appointed four-door Accord. Yours right now at Honda East for only $239 a month. Or experience the stylish Civic sedan. Dependable, efficient, affordable, all new for $88. Yours now at Honda East for just $146 a month. Honda East has it all. Award-winning service, a large selection of new and used cars, and affordable payments. Honda East, 5805 Scarborough Boulevard.
Old storm windows are awkward, heavy, fragile, and need maintenance. Plastic films are cheap but hard to see through, impossible to clean, and ugly. Here's an alternative, the Flex-Tight magnetic interior insulating window. It snaps on inside, helps keep drafts and street noise outside. The frame seals tight like a refrigerator door. It's clear as glass, but lighter, tougher, and a better insulator. And it looks just fine.
On sale now, 20% off. Call for a free estimate.
A few moments ago, I told you about the interest in preserving the history down in Greenfield. Right there, you're seeing two old railroad stations. One is being preserved, and the other one, of course, as you see right there, is a veterinary's office right now, already preserved, Baltimore and Ohio, and they also have a DT&I, Detroit, Toledo, and Ironton Railroad down there. And they say that they will be the only city in the state of Ohio that will have two refurbished old-time railroad depots.
Of course, there was a time when those depots were very, very busy for businesses there, industry, bringing supplies in and sending products out. It might surprise you. You might think Greenfield, that they don't have a lot of industry there. Well, they do, relatively speaking, and business that touches people all over the country. Nearly 100 years ago, George Waddell's grandfather turned a pesky coffee mill into a family business.
He was trying to hold this between his knees, and it kept falling off. And he says, why doesn't some fool put a handle on these things? So he patented a handle.
Waddell is third generation of a Greenfield family who believed back then, if you can't find the product you need, make it yourself. Over the years, the Waddell company has made all sorts of gadgets. There's the quick calculator, the X-ray egg tester to sort out the bad eggs, and the Wheel of Fortune-like gizmo that lured customers to buy cigars. Waddell called it the sales stimulator. But furniture is what survived the changing economy. It started with this.
This is the revolutionary cigar case, and the reason it was revolutionary was that it revolved, it opened up. Now you, as a cigar customer, want a fresh cigar, so you reach in and pinch the cigar to see that it's not dry.
John Waddell was an inventor and a man with much foresight. He knew he needed lumber for his plant, so he built it right here along these train tracks at South Washington Street in 1889. The lumber was shipped here by rail. Trophy cases found in high schools all over the country are made here in Greenfield. Many of the 30 woodworkers have been here for more than a decade. They take pride in their work and the company's reputation.
The greatest asset that we have in this plant is the people that work here, and they're just top-notch people.
We're good to work for, and we get good people to work with. There's no problem. I enjoy it.
The Waddell family sold the plant to Jet Manufacturing just a few months ago. George Waddell still sticks around. He works as a consultant and as the bridge between present-day mass production and the creativity of the past.
This was baited. The mouse ran in there, tripped the bait, and that closed, and this locked it closed so he couldn't push it open from... Now then, there's an opening back here for him to smell the bait, and also an opening so that you could put the entire rat trap in a bucket of water and drown the rat.
Kind of gruesome at dinner time.
That almost looks like an old Kodak camera, right?
It's called the Kodak rat trap because of the Kodak box cameras way back. Another interesting product was phonograph with a secret. and we wanted to know what was the secret. The secret was the Waddells put in a pie pan, was snuck up in there to catch the grease that might fall in the phone. What do you know? Well, that's one family business. Another family business is Greenfield Products, which started back in 1959. What they do is work with boat anchors, and they get the boat anchors from a company in Indianapolis and put a special coating on the boat anchors. It's a plastic coating called Plastisol that protects the anchor and, in essence, protects the boat so that the anchor doesn't scratch up the boat. Now, this started, as I said, back in 1959, a company with only about a dozen employees, and just recently, it became a business that the father turned it over to his daughter.
And I remembered lots of conversations over the dinner table about anchors and tent stakes and skillets, and so I'm just real excited that he's asked me to take his place. All the employees have become like family to my father, and I can certainly see why.
And those anchors are distributed, sold through Kmart stores, so that's where the entire connection comes from as far as going around the country. Her dad is J. Paul Gessner, who started the business. He's ill, and we wish him good health.
And we'll be back in just a moment. 5:30 edition of Eyewitness News.
Everything you need to take your best shot. Cameras, film, accessories, high-quality printing and developing, all from the Meyer Photo Center. This week, get Kodak's K12 35 camera, just $114.97 after Kodak's rebate, and save 25 cents on any Kodak film in stock with the coupon from this past Sunday's Meyer newspaper insert. Take your best shot with the Meyer Photo Center.
Big kids and little kids can sleep better this holiday season by taking advantage of the Quinn Sleep Center's big holiday bonus sale. There's special pricing and no interest or payments till April. Oh, and with your bedding purchase, you'll earn bonus dollars for additional furniture. Big kid or little kid, Quinn is sure to have the sleep surface ideally suited for you. There's free delivery or just drive it home during the Quinn Sleep Center's holiday bonus sale.
Thinking of buying a new truck?
The Mazda Dealer Information Center has a great suggestion.
Check out the 1988 Mazda SE5. This sporty truck is priced close to Toyota's base truck, yet has loads of standard features Toyota doesn't have. No wonder Mazda's been rated the #1 truck in overall customer satisfaction for 2 years running.
Here's another suggestion. Drive one today.
See Mid-Ohio Imported Cars, Patrick Mazda, Classic Cars, McDaniel Motors, Joe Jekyll Mazda.
I'm a wheel watcher. I'm a wheel watcher.
This fall, everyone's keeping their eyes on the one and only wheel.
My, oh my.
Play along and see who's making a fast dash for some quick cash.
Who's watching now?
Watch and play Wheel of Fortune at home with game cards from Big Bear and Hearts. Win valuable coupons or up to $1,000 in cash.
Wow.
Come on, America, be a wheel watcher with Wheel of Fortune.
Play along with 10 TV Big Bear and Hearts weeknights at 7:30.
All of us in the Heart of Ohio crew would like to thank the people down in Greenville for such a great day. Quick trip for me down there from noon and fly down and come right back again. And we wish you all out there a very, very happy Thanksgiving.
Enjoy it. Right now it is 6 o'clock. Lou Forrest and Teresa Lucanis are next.
Go below those pine boughs that mark the course.